They'll be calling you a radical. As I said the whole time, this could be the greatest PhD in human history. So I'm going to talk about the Copper River salmon numbers, and thank you to the Alaska Fish and Wildlife for this incredible, beautiful website. Thank you for your help. I've been working with them. I actually talked to a young woman today on the Copper River organization. She was very helpful. You know, thank you to everybody as the luxury good of food. Copper River salmon is, you know, in New York I'm involved. My family members, a lot of more for luxury goods. As a luxury good, people have asked me for a long time, Kevin, what are you up to at this YouTube site with your most interested in branding myself as a luxury good? So I'm going to talk about the hard numbers on the Copper River salmon. I'm glad the wind's blowing, and I hope we can hear all right because, okay, here we go. This is Fukushima, March 10th in the United States, that evening, March 11th, second. That's the Pacific Ocean. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, oh, day 7 we got water out of it. Day 8, 9, up to 1914 in your head, as I hypothesized. It's going to genocide the Pacific Ocean. Day 1 when it happened. I was working on my PhD when I got cancer, when I got hypothesized. You look at the very first videos, go through the tags. It's going to give you leukemia, it's going to give you leukemia, it's going to give you leukemia. I got ML, leukemia, OS, de novo. Pretty well a death sentence. Nobody survives that, right? Right into my bone marrow transplant. So, the traditional PhD that we hypothesize, right? We go on the field work and we do the field work for a minimum of 3 years. We have to prove our knowledge. This is traditional, like this peer reviews are handed. Doc Ricketts. Now you think about Doc Ricketts, the greatest marine biologist in California history, bar none. He had no PhD. Compare and contrast Doc Ricketts, Ed Ricketts, who was killed by the San Diegan, as I was there flipping my can at 800 Monterey, you know, on the old drive. Look at his work. You know, was he awarded the PhD after his death? He should be. He should have one at everybody's statue should be in front of him. Just like Falmouth statue should be here. So, we're working hard on these numbers. Now, I hypothesized, I said to nauseam millions of times that we'll know in 5 years because salmon go to sea for 5 years. I know that the salmon numbers escapement in 2010 and 2011 were record. They had done such an incredible job in Oregon, Washington, Seattle, in the escapement, bringing back that industry, billions of dollars dumped into it. So I knew we had a chance for giant numbers. So here we go. They peaked. Now, as you know, over the Bonneville, I've been reporting. I have whistleblowers inside NOAA, and then I'm going to give these numbers. I'll list the websites. This is just the facts. This is the facts. That, you know, you can go along, and I can take all the videos you want of tide pools, which I've done, empty, whatever. We can take all the photographs we want, whatever. We can take Geiger counters. I don't use a Geiger counter because I'm an old stats professor. I know one little number here or there, it's called an inset. That's worthless. We know RadNet was crashed. That was where the number should be. We know the Obama administration, I mean, just facts, stood on the White House on March 17th and said, don't worry, we want to be transparent. You have the right to know what I know. Well, he don't know jack. So, you know, literally, we talk about big fish eating little fish. Well, in the fishing industry, literally, we don't enforce antitrust law. So, you know, the one fishery that Roman owns, he owns it all. You know, so here we go on the Copper River numbers. So the peak day is May 25th there. Now over the Columbia, the Salmon River numbers, we peak. Now, by the way, magically, I've been watching that cam, the live cam. They peak on May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Magically, the cam crashed, kind of like magically. Redneck crashed the day after. We know Fukushima was blooming all over as today was reported by me. Right here in this exact location. Steinbach on Malco. So, I mean, at the IB. So here we go. So, last year, over the Bonneville, up to June 1st, that's spring run, 1.3 million. This year, 337,000. Excuse me, strike that. 137,000. That's by volume, not weight. By weight, much Same here. This is by volume. I know the numbers by volume. So I tracked this June 6th. Now they peak on June 24th or 25th. So last year on June 25th, the peak day, they had 53,000. 53,000 Copper River salmon were taken that day. This year on peak day, 22,800. So I'm going to get into the numbers. They say on Wall Street, when I was an old derivative trader, they say the trend is your friend. This trend ain't our friend. This trend's nobody's friend. The luxury good of death, huntsman, cancer, chemical, huntsman, chemical, and they brand everything. So when I was in New York one time, a long time ago, I know some of these people use luxury good as an old. They've cannibalized every industry. You know, there's an old bet out there, like we can turn anything into a luxury good. And so, just like trading plays, he bet $1 to his billionaire friend that he could do it. And he says, pick any product. And they bet. And the bet was vodka. Cheapest good on earth. Did they turn it into electric? Oh, you bet. Freaking Grey Goose on alcohol. So, okay, here we go to June 6th. June 6th. Here's the numbers, and I'll post them all. 2013. 42,596. June 6th, 2014, 500,559. June 6th, 2015, 485,140. June 6th, 2016, 242,578. That's a major collapse. So I wait now. I grew up on what would be termed an organic farm. A big organic farm. My dad's name was Digger. Everybody still to this day, my dad's been dead for a long time. Maggie and Digger, you know, it was nuclear about test sites. So we grew up, just our family garden was 20 acres, you know, and so he was a potato farmer. I mean, we grazed everything, organic beef, everything, so we ate everything. But when my mom and dad, you know, they'd give us some, they wanted, you know, something not out of their garden, they would, you know, go to, of course, halibut. Or salmon. I used to get so excited when they would fry halibut. You know, it's like once in a while, you know, my mom preserved everything. I mean, we had fruit. My dad grew the best potatoes in the world. I still love them. You know, they're gone now, but my house sits right on his, right there, the old here where I did my praying. That's the family of 4 generations of it. So, as we go forward, look, Ed Ricketts was killed. As she calls me the last San Diego, and I'll be in LA. I'm going to land at LAX probably the 21st. It looks like I need a cheap flight. Looks like I got a place to stay in downtown Los Angeles. So I'll go out to Laguna Beach again, and, you know, and I'll, you know, shoot my videos of the tide pools, which I have at Carmel, at, you know, multiple times at Sunset Cliffs, at PB, at OB. I'll do what I do. You know, we can only get so much. So Cal Davis, they've come out now. University of Cal Davis has come out and released, they've been documenting the dying tide pools. They have before and after. We can argue. Scientists are baffled. They're mystified. They're stumped. This is the greatest PhD, right down to my own OS. I diagnosed myself. I was sent home to die. My family, daughters, whatever, you know, I refused the surgery. You guys watch it, and it's all on YouTube. That's the beauty of this thing. 2,000 videos documenting the greatest PhD ever in history, so you hypothesize. Then you do the field work proving a new knowledge for at least 3 years. I mean, talk about field work on balcony. I've walked from Mexico to San Francisco. I mean, literally walked, and I don't mean on the one, I mean literally walked the whole thing. In Vienna at the IAA, said first protester there 25 years. At the Megan Rice trial, freaking, and sentencing at Knoxville, Tennessee. In New York multiple times, in Eugene, Oregon, fighting and arguing. Oh, you freaking environmentalists, you know, sleeping on park benches, fighting in the bone marrow transplant center at LDS off and on for 3.5 years. You know, what a long, leading the Million Mass March, gave the first inaugural speech. I led that march, lined up the freaking police cars, all that. I mean, wow. I mean, I look back and, holy cow. So these numbers are the facts. So let's talk. My friend, we grew up together since we were children. He runs our fish market here. We have an incredible fish market. You know, I don't eat fish, stand tuna. So I went and talked to him today. And I says, so what about the Copper River? And there he got Copper River. I took photographs. He says, they're little teeny things. So when I called up to talk to this great young woman up there at the Copper River Foundation, I says, well, what about the over. And I said, well, people said, oh, if they were coming in shortage, the price would go up. Just let me show you. The price has already doubled in the last 3 months on all salmon. Salmon's going crazy because, hello, the escapement was huge. Salmon go to sea for 5 years. I said it. Fukushima, because they brand us in this, how you're all crazy, Godzilla, it's science fiction. When nuclear reaction, a nuclear thing, it's as concrete as it gets. There's nothing more concrete. I mean, it's uranium out of the mines. They use it, you know, it's just a simple chain reaction, and they boil the Earth's water. I mean, climate change, you can already tell the cows come home, but let's see, reactors boiling water going in the air over and over, no answer for the waste. You know, it's an economic catastrophe. We're down to 85 from 104. As it, you know, the PhD is the activism. The fight for my life is the art. You know, is the life. Is, you know, Fimbo Peterson, one of the greatest. You know, they've documented my case heavily. It's that I've been cut off because Mike Lee kicked me off again. Getting the cows kicked out of the Energy Solutions dump site, all on video. Mike Lee kicks me off. Videos with Mike Lee, videos with Lisa Lee, videos with Noam Chomsky, videos with Hilla Kelska, videos with Dr. Sher. I mean, all these people that I've interacted with, and I've done all this incredible work, you know, proving this work of mine. Now the conclusion, we'll never know the conclusion in our lifetimes because TEPCO themselves comes out and says, we're relying on yet underdeveloped technology, maybe 200 years. I mean, it's insanity, the greatest. I mean, I said the whole thing just blew. No, water flew on Sanjay Gupta. Not, I mean, the black and yellow media whores that evolved. This is the hard facts, as I hypothesized 5 years ago. I said, we'll know. So, by weight, he says, this is the first year, and I've done this for 40 years, we've never caught any, what he called the kings, the big kings, the little Chinooks. So, you gotta see it. They're a lot. So I've been calling all over. My whistleblower up in Oregon inside NOAA, he says they got called to Washington, they all went to Washington, they met with the head of NOAA. This is his words to me. He says, the head of NOAA is a moron. He says, he doesn't know a spring Chinook from a tadpole. He says, this guy doesn't know a fishing rod from an anchor. He's a moron. This guy's an idiot. He says, he couldn't tell salmon from a squirrel. And he says, they told them straight up. Because May 15th, the guy made the call, so we're not saying anything. Now remember, this Endangered Species Act of 1971 was passed. That gives the natives own half the fish. So the natives monitor everything. So they close it and then reopen it because they know, because they own half the fish, they won't have their fish. So in the native creation story, it's so hallowed sacred, the white buffalo, is, look, they believe the accident of humanity on Earth, and they predicted by all this way, this nuclearism in their creation stories, dust in the wind. That's an old native poem. So, first came salmon. You'll starve to death on that rock you guys accidentally got on. Salmon, the god came forward and says, I will give you my flesh. Second came water. Water came and says, salmon can live in my water. So they understand. They eat a pound a day, you know. And by the way, as far as the Copper River salmon, does it taste better than other? I don't know, but I knew I sure loved it before. I quit eating it after Fukushima, but whoa, it's so good. And thank you to the Copper River group up there. She was very cooperative. And thank you to Alaska Fish and Game. Now, I want people to know this. I don't trust any of those guys. The guy who documented the dead mures in Bristol Bay, that was not all those guys that are paid to do that work. They didn't do it. He's a retired old marine biologist. When I found out the Greys were giving birth in Monterey, that's my work. I found out by retired old marine biologists in Monterey. They said my daughter and son are both marine. They don't care. You know, so the hearing's going to be for the San Onofre waste. Gary's got him to come down there. It's an important historic hearing. I will be there, and anybody who's anybody, and my great anti-nuclear friends, you know, Donnie Young, you know, Donna Gilmore, Gene Stone, Ace Hoffman, I go on and on. I can't wait to see all of you, and I know you'll all be there. Mike Gary, I absolutely love him. You know, that native San Diegan, the last San Diegan, you know, Doc Ricketts, Kevin Blanch on Balco, you know, the greatest marine biologist in history, but he had Steinbeck, he had the art, you know, my poetry, my way, my thing. These are the numbers of the numbers. So he says the weight is a catastrophe. So I make phone calls all over. They're like, yeah, they're tiny. So this is by volume. That's a major collapse. 222,000. 220 to 2014 is 2 years for 1 million on this day. I mean, same thing on the bottom. They go to sea for 5 years. So, and all you people that are freaking out, I mean, this is the nuclear fission event. It's never happened. These gamma rays, and it's this simple. It's this simple. We have a major nuclear. It's much more dangerous to live in Oregon, New York, freaking Tennessee, freaking Ohio. 5 years it'll collapse. They go to sea for 5 years. Look, the plankton got broke. There's been more whales wash up dead on the coast of California in the last 2 years than the previous probably 300 combined. Big fish, they open up, I've been naming when they've opened them. There's buckets, there's rocks, everything. The orcas are in San Francisco Harbor right now. The humpbacks are, they're never there. They're chasing food, they're starving. Look, a tiny, tiny riddle pink krill, shrimp, plankton. That's the first to go, right? That's what salmon eat. That's what makes them pink. This is the chief says. He says, my people are starving. Though we have some salmon, we're starving because he knows the nutrition's not in there. The nutrition's been dragged out because big fish eat little fish. You know, isn't that the economic thesis? What's antitrust law? We go from the square deal to the new deal to the raw deal. Kevin Blanch, the economist, the trend is your friend. They say, well, not this trend. You know, so we can go take pictures. We can take boats. I can do all the videos you want. I can run around up and down with a Geiger counter. What good's that going to do? We have to rely on big insets. This is a giant inset. This is it. This is it. Is it going to get better? No, I think it's going to get worse. So as the numbers go up, oh, the price of salmon just here, I know at our market has doubled in the last 3 months. And also, and I'm up here, oh, well, this is out of the farm. No, you won't. Look, farm salmon come, it's like this. The salmon, they have to go through that cycle of the sea. The freaking whole cycle to go through your ecology, your biology, their ecology. Biology goes into our flesh. So they come up, they have to go through that cycle, to go through that process. The egg's about that big, and they get on that rock, and then right as they lay it, it goes, whoo, that's when you get it. You have to get your natural egg to put in the pond in Austria, in freaking Chile, wherever. You have to have that egg. You can't reproduce that egg. You know, even the GMO, the relist. I mean, I'm here to tell you. You know, you're part of the sea. This is the ecology, your biology. You turn it into your pseudo-factual theology and this madness, God's will, whatever. You know, no, this is, you know, the luxury of good of death. Nuclearism, Fukushima, I say, how's a chemical? The luxury of good of death. You know, it's very sad because we all love to eat it, right? I know I do, you know. So, what are you up to, Kev? I'm branding myself as a luxury good. So, I'll post this and you go through the numbers, you know. And the state of Oregon has the same interactive website, so it doesn't matter what you think of me. It doesn't matter of my style or my ways, what's your opinion. My hypothesis was dead on. My work has been epic, you know, and at Monterey, when I was flipping the can behind my back, that's right on the San Diego. That's right there where that exploited labor is, in the center of that beautiful Monterey Bay. Well, you know, Marina, Watsonville, Castroville, the exploited labor. I slept with the pickers. Ding, 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 ding. I flipped in that can. I bought that big can. I thought people understand. Cannery Row, American Canned Row, on Balco, and then I realized people don't read books. People are literal, they don't do anything. We've lost it. We're ignorant. We've working too long. You know, we've been GMO'd. We've been chemtrailed. You've been zapped with an elf tower. Oh, yeah, really? Okay. I work on the sea. I'll be back there in LA. We'll go to Laguna. We'll do a lot of great bitch. I'm very excited to be in LA. I'm very excited to be downtown LA. I'll be standing downtown. I'll arrive the 2020. I need plenty. You know, I rely on crowdfunding. I need, you know, money, you know, and thank you to everybody who supported me. I love you. More than you know. You'll get your reward. I'll get this all done. We'll get our book. We'll save so many millions of people's lives. You'll be paid back in 10, 20 fold. You know, thank you so much. I love all of you that have stayed with this and have supported this incredible historic PhD, this incredible work. Who knew? Who knew, huh? So, let's see if this thing's still running. I hope so. Oh, yeah, I just missed it. 1926. I wanted to stop it on 19. Then we'll stop at the year that Ricketts was killed, the greatest marine biologist. So, this is the brain on Fukushima reactor. This is North America. This is what happened as soon as the quake hit, which was March 10th of 946 California time. In the moment. Mach 1, Mach 2s. Just like at San Onofre. The waste just sits there. They can't handle a 7.7, let alone a 9. Okay, so they blew. That's your house right there. It's only 5,600 miles across there. There's California, there's Oregon, there's Utah, there's New York, there's the Earth. It's right there. So here's what it did. The jet stream. Then it went into the Pacific Ocean. The California current, that bridge made it to Eugene, Oregon in 7 days. Breaking news, fish swim. The silver streak, stand tuna, stand salmon. So, breaking news. The Pacific Ocean is not bathtub. Oh, the 4 hypothesis, the waste hypothesis, the freaking bathtub hypothesis, the kelp bullshit, just all the lies. You know, major events, we don't even know what they are. The new pyramid, they put it on at Livermore. I was there too on day 1000, on Thanksgiving. Heather and I ate Thanksgiving dinner in the room. We had a bag of freaking nuts from 7-Eleven. That's this journey. That's the hard work that we put into this. Relentless, relentless. So, again, on June 14th, I have the video to prove it. Poof. Again, when I'm in San Diego, I'm the only one that records. July of 2013. Poof! Okay, again. Janet and I found that video. May 20th, 2014. The ocean, pushing the ocean. The California current, the jet made some of the swiftest rivers on Earth. Good and Isle, it's not science fiction, it's not very